Hey, Justice Warriors, what's going on? Let me get a little bit more straightened out. I thought I would just start coming on live when I'm not ready because I thought that was cool when I did that the other day. Um, Hello, good morning. It is Tuesday. It's September 19th. It's just about 10:40 a.m. and I'm hoping to be able to do a live with my viewers for the next hour or so. There's a lot that I want to talk about as my norm lately with Idaho 4, Kiely Rodni, and Maui. Hi, Bex. What's up? I saw that you were in Mark Molina's chat last night. Wasn't that awesome? Like, that man is so on it. I don't think he even realizes what a contrib how highly he's contributing to trying to resolve the case. There you go, Mark. Wow, this is early live. Remember, I used to do them really early, like a year ago. I can't remember. I think you were around. I usually would do one like by 9, I think, 8:30, and then I would do another one around like a late lunch, like 1-ish. I would love to do that again if I can, but for right now, I'm going to try to be consistent with one a day. And when I have time, I'll try to make it longer and I'll try to do it as early in the day as I can. You know, things just get so freaking wackadoodle and everything distracts from getting this accomplished and pisses me off, quite frankly. So I'm so happy to see Bex and Mark and Annie Ruler and Susan Dodge Aguilar. Did I do it right? So thanks, guys. You guys are also the best. This Kylie Justice community is amazing. You are building it brick by brick, Mark and Annie and Bex and Susan, each one of us. Seriously, I am freaking amazed and delighted that 12 months, 13 months. Yeah, we're at 13 months out that people are still focused on this. I was so fearful a year ago that I would be standing right here all by myself with like maybe 3 viewers. I'm honestly like, that's honestly what I thought when I started my channel because I thought I'm going to talk about Kiely Rodni until this case is resolved. And I had no faith that it would get resolved from what I know of this type of crapola. Everything I say is simply my opinion for the sake of conversation, always hoping to open up a discussion and learn something. All my videos are made specifically for YouTube and it's an entertainment platform. Thanks so much for being here and thanks for the cute hearts. There's the cute thumb. Please hit that like button. It's really good for the algorithm. And, you know, in our electronic day and age, it's all about the algorithm. Um, so, yeah, committed to Kylie, absolutely. I mean, there's just something about her as an innocent young child that I think drew me in and probably drew all of us in. Um, that she got dogged by her quote unquote friends. I like to call them frenemies at best, just straight up enemies. And her freaking mother, her parents, like her granddad, like her dad and her granddad seemed like they were stepping to the plate for her, but did they really in the end? I don't know that they did. Um, I look like I'm all like disheveled and everything. Goodness gracious. You see, I have my justice hat with my little fox reading a book. Anyway, not to get distracted, let's stay focused. Squirrel. And I hope I don't have any spinach in my teeth. Anyway, there's a lot to talk about this morning with you guys. I can't believe how slow I am. Like, has this taken me 11 months, 10 months? Okay. And maybe I've said it before, maybe other channels have said it. I'm drawing a blank if I have and if other channels have, or maybe I haven't seen them. But maybe I've even said it before and just can't remember. Why in this case with Kiely Rodni, same as in the case in Idaho 4, do we have one still shot from a public place? One grainy still shot. And I want to say for the record that Squirrels on Fire, Shanda and Mark Molina and all you guys have won me over 100% into your camp finally. I believe that that picture is not Kylie. I never thought I'd say that. So I think that, the power of suggestion is huge. Kylie and Sammy, I don't think look that much alike, mostly because of their animation and their personalities. Kylie was always dead serious, all those photographs with all those very deep looks in her face and in her eyes. And Sammy's a little actress and she thinks it's all about her and everything is Sammy, Sammy, Sammy. So I think that if you took all the animation out of each of them and put them side by side, that yeah, they are very, very similar looking people. But when they're um, being themselves and they're animated by their personalities and their essence, they don't look alike to me. So um, I'm just amazed. It took me a year to realize that that's not Kylie. I really am 100% in the camp that it's not Kylie. And I think I only just fell into that camp entirely 100% this morning. So, um, hit the like button. Yeah, Kylie is the light in the darkness. Dad and grandpa likely had strange things happen to them, like creators' computers had happened. I see broccoli in your teeth. Are you serious? You're cracking me up. You could. I'm gonna drink some water just to be on the safe side. Tell me you're kidding. Now I'm all self-conscious because there's something right there. Okay, I brushed my teeth. Come on. Silly. You guys are awesome. There's nothing worse, right, than coming home and looking in the mirror and seeing that big chunk of spinach or kale or whatever on your tooth, and you're just like, you think of the people that you saw, and you're just like, I'm gonna kill them. They didn't tell me that that was there. Anyway, I trust you guys. You would let me know. You would help me out. And I'll be honest, about a year ago, there was a video that I made where I had like a black thing on one of my teeth, or not black, but it almost looked black. It was the skin of like a red kidney bean. And I don't think anybody noticed. I don't think I showed my teeth that much, but when I was reviewing the tape, I was like, "Holy crap." And I don't know, maybe I deleted it by now or made it private because I was just like, "Dear God." So, I'll check. I probably wouldn't be able to find it. I have so many tapes, or so many videos, and I'm so grateful for that because I feel like I'm fairly comfortable with this whole platform, and there's just so much to talk about and so much to accomplish, and as a group, I think we accomplish so much more, than we can by ourselves. And look, now I can highlight and not knock over my computer. That was hilarious. Why mess with the pics? Was Kylie just raised to be sacrificed? Oh, Annie, you're breaking my heart. I missed the family meeting yesterday, still to replay. You have to laugh at yourself. Absolutely. I enjoy laughing at myself. And, you know, I get really serious. I don't think I take myself too seriously because it's just no fun. Um, but I do want to talk about some really serious things right off the bat. So, like I was saying a second ago about both of these cases, there's so many similarities. Just having the gorgeous, gorgeous young blonde women and then having parties, having friends around that were there but didn't see anything. There's a lot more similarities than we realize. But I would just want to jump straight to the punch, you guys, because again, I feel like I'm freaking thick as a rock sometimes. I've said this again and again. I think a lot of people have said this again and again. And then we get distracted by something shiny and we get gaslit by uh, people muddying the water. People that come out on the internet, on the streets of YouTube just to muddy the water. And they do a good job. And, for that, we can thank them because if they weren't doing that, we wouldn't know if we were onto something. So when the trolls come out, they're telling you, "Oh crap, you're onto something. We need to shut you down." Um, the biggest business in Tahoe, I do not believe, is skiing. I do not believe that snow is the biggest business in Tahoe. I believe it's the other snow. Um, so sorry, my phone just dinged. And my theory that I think I've touched on before, but I just fell right into this camp this morning in reviewing Mark and Shan's most recent drops, is that this may very well be what I've said again and again about like a multi-generational war. And again, this is all speculation. Maybe like a drug lord war. Who's channeling, funneling, laundering the business and the money? Multi millions, billions globally. And Tahoe is a party town. It's an absolute party town. People go to Tahoe to ski and to hang out in their hot tubs and to, live the good life. I mean, that's what you do in Tahoe. Snowboard. I mean, I'm not hip and cool. I've never snowboarded. I've skied. I'm hip and cool enough to have tried that a few times. And my husband's super good at it. He's like one of those double black diamond freaks. Me, I'm a bunny slope. I can do the green things. What is it? Green triangles, but they're a little too much. Just being honest. Anyway, back to the point. The drug lord war. Sammy's family, Kylie's family, MC's family. Again, pure speculation. I could be in left field, but we know that we've got issues with water rights with Sammy Smith's family, Sammy Smith's Sammy. I'll edit that out. I'm just kidding. And Kiely Rodni's family. We've got generations, at least, of her grandfather being in litigation with Sammy's parents involved on the other side of the complaint, the other side of the lawsuit. Um, for at least 20 years in the paperwork that I have found online. So, you guys, if you feel like sleuthing and digging, you can look up all the lawsuits involving Kiely Rodni's grandfather. And there's a lot. He started being a water rights proprietor, I think at age 28. So my guess is that his family, that was the family business. That's pretty big freaking business to get into at 28 in Tahoe. And again, going back to Chinatown, you guys. Let's see what you're saying. Um, Lake of trust and law enforcement in both cases. I love that you said lake of trust. I'm sure you meant lack of trust, and maybe spell check got you, but it's cute and it has a good double meaning. No clear video and unknown timelines. So I had so many epiphanies while I was listening to you, Mark, and while I was listening to the last 2 hours of Shan's. Why has there never been information shared about Kylie's mother said that she told her she was gonna go to the gym, right? And then do that car show thing. And did she go to the gym? Did she not go to the gym? Like, that's a pretty simple question. And that's a pretty basic thing. If that's the story, you see if the story checks out. And maybe she was planning on going to the gym and didn't make it, but then that would put the timeline a lot earlier in the day potentially, and that's what they don't want. The timelines are really key with every single case out there. So if you can buy yourself that first 12 hours like Moscow did, if you can buy yourself the first 24, the first 48 hours, you're practically home free, because that's where the most crucial evidence is going to be discovered. and that evidence evaporates. If you have the wrong timeline, like 1:45 as a time of arriving home instead of 1:56, that incorrect timeline can screw up everything. You can lose the whole case right then and there. So I fall down the mountain, so it is hard. Oh man, it's scary. I mean, people die skiing. People break their legs. That's why we know that those search crews out there at Prosser Lake um, they have everything they need to do a good search because they have people disappear in avalanches and things like that every year, guaranteed. So they have ski accidents every year, guaranteed, like fatal ones every year, guaranteed. So you have ski patrol, you have medics on skis that are out there saving people. I know somebody who was severely injured in a ski accident. She was on a double black diamond and she was extremely competent. And she went over some black ice and hit her head and was unconscious for, I think, like 2 entire minutes. And she had repercussions of that head injury. Like it was kind of fine at the time. She was medically cleared and it affected her for the rest of her life. It affected her badly. Head injuries are like that. They're very mysterious. But I knew a guy who was a ski patrol. I think I've mentioned that to you guys once or twice. When I lived in San Francisco for graduate school, he ski patrolled every single weekend. It was called Squaw back then. I know people have gotten on me for calling it that. I think it's called like Palisades now or something. It's like the premier ski joint there at Tahoe. And he was a ski patrol for like 20 years. Every single weekend, him and his wife and his two kids would ski for free. Like that's one of the deals you get if you volunteer for the ski patrol. So we know that they have highly skilled and trained professionals that work there full time. He was just a weekend ski patrol. Anyway, my point is that they knew Kiely was in the water. They knew Kiely was in the water. Shan, in her 4-hour live last night, that was extremely valuable, every minute of it, was tracing over the paths that a lot of the quote unquote searchers were on. Um, they knew. They knew. I mean, these people are just ridiculous. It's all good. We love you with or without kale in your teeth. You have a beautiful, caring spirit. You are down to earth. I like that term, down to earth, because, yeah, I'm kind of a tree hugging granola earth mama. I have to admit it. I won't try to hide it. And a brilliant and honest creator. So sweet. I love Tahoe and Truckee to visit. I loved it. Oh my God. I couldn't believe when I finally had the opportunity to hang out there. I was just like, I had no idea what I was missing. I mean, I'd heard people hyping it up pretty much my whole life, and I've never bought into the hype. Just like with Hawaii, I never bought into that hype. So sometimes I'm kind of thick like that. One sec. These places are amazing natural wonders. I mean, Tahoe and Hawaii are premier world class vacation spots. People go there to drop big bucks. And most of you have probably been to Disneyland or Disney World and places like that, and Hawaii and Tahoe. They're designed to take you for everything you've got financially. They know how to clean out your pockets. They know how to drain your bank accounts. They know how to drain and max out your credit cards. However much money you have to your name, they try to figure out how to squeeze every dime out of you in a week or 8 days. And you think, oh no, I'm good. I got this. But trust me, if you haven't done it, just beware, be careful. Because you get to Hawaii, you have your whole thing mapped out, and then you're like, oh wow, I could take a helicopter tour of the volcano. That sounds safe. I can take a cruise around all the islands for just what, another $800? I mean, that sounds a lot safer than a helicopter tour of a volcano. But there's a lot of these excursions that people go on that they don't come back from, you guys, especially in Alaska. Anyway, I'm just so happy to see you guys. Thank you for modding. Thank you everybody for being here. I'm gonna try to keep up with your comments. I'm sorry that I missed a bunch. We know nothing of Kylie's day, August 5th. Very strange, but telling. Right. That's exactly what same thing I was saying, that they probably wiped the first 24 hours out of existence from the timeline. Right? So everything that happened in those first 24 hours, it never happened. It never happened. Um, so hey, outdoorsy life and sunflower. Sonny Bono died skiing, and Natasha Richardson, remember? Yeah, horrible. I forgot. I completely forgot. I don't know if I ever knew about Sonny Bono dying skiing. And Natasha Richardson just so happens to be the person who starred in the movie The Handmaid's Tale as that main character. So, kind of touching on the Moscow case slightly, but let's try to stay grounded in Kiely Rodni before we go on to the other two, the Maui and the Moscow. But I have so much to say about all of them. I just wanted to do my little squirrel run around and talk about all of them at the same time. How did the how did all the law enforcement agencies get on the case so fast? We don't know when Kylie was last seen for real. It's like they knew it happened before. Mark, somebody in one of my chats just a couple days ago said, well, they were there for or I think it was in the chat, might have been comment section. They were there for investigating Nancy Pelosi's husband, I think, or something like that. Or was it the other guy? The other guy that starts with the last name, same letter, P, starts with the last name. I gotta get my head together. Um, so yeah, they were there like way too fast, and there was way too many of them. Like that's not how it goes when you have a missing person. When you have one kid that may or may not have been abducted, that may or may not have been in a car crash, you don't get 60 FBI agents out there kicking the sand on the beach. You just don't. You also don't get national attention, each kid that goes missing. I think part of the reason that this one got national attention the way it did was because I'll just say it, the simple beauty of Kylie. She was extremely striking. Um, and because it was just so freaking cockamamie, it made no sense. And like right away, there was interest. Like, what are you talking about? Freaking Lord of the Flies party? What? Who has a Lord of the Flies party? Like, whoa. And then as quickly as that came out of that girl's mouth, I don't think Sammy ever said it again. I'm pretty sure that Kate Cunio said it and that got scrubbed off the internet. Who's with me on believing that they remember Kate Cunio saying the same thing, the Lord of the Flies, right up front? Um, and also admitting that she was there right up front and then changing her tune. And then has she like been out of the country ever since? I don't know. Didn't she go live at the lodge for a little bit with Jagger and then like went to Europe or something? Oh, how did all they get there on the case so fast? Such a Mark, you were just like so on it. And it's just so good to have, like you said, all of us bolstering each other and, the synergistic effects of all of us putting our focus on this case is so helpful. It's helpful for each of us to have the moral support and not feel like we're on an island by ourselves. And just bouncing the ideas off of each other. I don't think I ever would have came up with the picture of not Kylie being not Kylie without being getting brainwashed by you guys. But I was susceptible to Sammy's brainwashing from the beginning. And is it Ara? Another content creator who, yeah, I think it was you, Ara, who basically said, I'm thinking this picture was never vetted by law enforcement. it was portrayed that it was vetted by law enforcement, but now, a year later, where's the evidence that it was vetted by law enforcement? It was Sammy Smith, in my opinion, allegedly. Um, Annie Ruler ad mailing PO boxes in Hawaii. Is that the government connection to taking over Maui for the government? Truckee seems to have a few AVA. Hey, Open Mind Perspective. Thanks for coming in and saying hello. Yeah, Annie, girl, you are always just like razor sharp. You're scaring me. Um, yeah, the Truckee connections to Hawaii, and then the whole thing with Maui, with Lahaina burning down. I'm glad I'm not the only one who stumbles over that word. I've heard so many people say Lahaina as wrong as I say it sometimes. But yeah, just it seems very premeditated that they wanted that property to put in their smart city and that's what they're doing. Um, Brush Junkie came out with a really good video last night. It was so good. I put the link to it in my description for my video yesterday, even though her video was like 10 hours after mine. I usually don't do that. I usually only put videos that were made before mine in the links. I also put a super current Hawaii real estate link in the bottom of the list of links in yesterday's description. I am curious if Brush Junkie has seen my videos because she is right in the same place that I'm in. She's looking at the same things, she's identifying the same things, she's saying the same things. And I'm not saying that she's taken anything from me. She might not have ever noticed my channel. It might be that we're just both synchronized like that. I'm fascinated. I mean, she's so good. She's so sharp. And I was glad she reiterated in her last video that she was born and raised in Hawaii because I knew she spent some time growing up there, but I couldn't remember the story and I didn't know which video it was in. And I've just been, I haven't had time to try to find that. So she stated it again last night. So having been born and raised on Oahu, um, she wasn't from Maui. I'm sure she's been there, but even if she hasn't, it's like she knows the Hawaiian culture. She knows it extremely well. And she's of Asian descent, which there's a super high population of Asian descent in the Hawaiian Islands. Um, and she's just really good. Like she's got corporate background training. She's real methodical. She doesn't jump to conclusions. She doesn't speak to things that she doesn't feel like she has a handle on. And I try not to do any of that either. So, some things that I have a handle on, I wish I could share with my audience how or why I believe that I have a handle on these things. But if I told you, I'd have to kill you. And of course, I'm kidding. But you know what I mean. I mean, it's like 007 stuff, right? Because you know me, I'm like a spy. Oh. Okay, let's get on with it. Sus from the start. Who, me? No, seriously, you guys, when I started my channel, there were people who were very suspicious of me and all the other new channels that started with the Kiely Rodni case. I remember people coming into my chats and saying, like, well, we don't know anything about you. Like, what are you up to? And you should be suspicious of anybody new. I believe that there are a lot of bullshit YouTube channels. 100%. A lot of bullshit YouTube channels, especially covering Idaho 4. Oh my gosh. It's bad. There's so many that I think are 100% like basically people like Sammy Smith and MC just coming out, muddying the water. And, they're saying the things that people want to hear, the spin doctors. But, muddying the water is the thing. I mean, the whole thing with gaslighting is to confuse. And these cases, there's so many moving parts. It's so easy to do. I mean, people like me are gullible. If you tell me it's a picture of Kiely Rodni and it looks like Kiely Rodni, I'm going to believe you that it's Kiely Rodni. I did think that, it was a very unique picture of Kiely Rodni. I'm like, she's never looked like that in any other of her other pictures, but we look different in every single picture of us, and we look different every day. We look different every moment. Seriously. Um, who invited the creepy old guys? I did not get it. LOL. Oh, that's cute, Mark. It's super funny. Yeah, and then in Shan's video, somebody was talking about, I think it was Shan and Divine Justice, aka Mrs. G, talking about campsite number 6. And I have always heard about a specific campsite at Boca. I want to say number 9, but I'm not sure. But that there was a specific campsite at Boca that there was a whole lot of questions and interest around, and that was a campsite that one of the rangers had mentioned in an email thread of her resigning from the position because this activity happening at that slip at the Boca campsite a couple of days after August 6th was creeping her the F out, and she wasn't getting any help from her supervisors. And so she resigned from the position. You guys know what I'm talking about, right? Like crazy. Casey the cat. So can I jump? Can I just like switch gears? Maybe we'll come back to Kiely. The cat. I mentioned yesterday my big thing with thinking that in Maui, with the medical examiner stating that they found the 16 non-distinct human entity remains, implying that that's animals. I mean, I don't think they were implying that it's aliens, but they didn't really specify, did they? So maybe they meant aliens. There's a massive, long history of uh, too many feral cats in Maui, and especially in the Lahaina area. So for them to say that they found 16 remains of non-human, let's just say it was 16 cats, maybe 15 cats and a dog, or 14 cats, a dog, and a cow. I mean, who knows, right? People have pets. And then you've got the thousands of feral cats that there's no way they could have all gotten out of there. There's no way. So if they only have 16 of them, then you can bet your bottom dollar that there's thousands that they don't have. So drawing that parallel to the very small numbers of distinct human remains that they're claiming that they have, okay, maybe that is all that they have. That doesn't mean they can't account for the ones that they don't have. I mean, come on. You didn't get everybody's remains in the Twin Towers. It was easier to document all the people in the Twin Towers. They probably didn't do missing persons reports on every single person that died in the Twin Towers, but none of those people were living off a grid. None of them. If they were in the Twin Towers, they were not living off grid. Or if they were in those airplanes, they were not living off grid. So in Hawaii, you have a lot of people that live off grid. It's just the way it is. That's why they go there. And then that whole Lahaina town is like the village. And then the country is what's outside the village, where so many encampments are, so I'm told, or used to be anyway. And I think some of them might have been untouched, the encampments, because I did see one video of an EMT, the guy who was driving around, who spoke about the cat that was burned, that was standing straight up. Did you guys see that one? I'm gonna put that link again in the description today, because that is a short video. He has his cell phone videotaping himself while he's driving around the day after the fires. and he seems like a very credible source. So that story of that cat, and he says he has a video of it. That's some freaky stuff. The cat's still standing with fur. I don't know what to make of it. Anyway, Ara is on it as well. Yes, she is. Annie Ruler says Anna Kennedy. So I've been mentioning the Martha Moxley case lately, which has the Skakel Kennedys involved. So I don't know if you're referring to that or another Kennedy with one of these cases um, with the uh, Kiely Rodni or with Maui. I don't know that we've got any Kennedys in Idaho, but man, that whole Idaho thing. And I did get to watch some of the 48 hours. It doesn't seem like anything new for anyone who hasn't seen it yet. I think it's more valuable to watch the content creators breaking it down. Um, so Bed Crime Stories was one that I wanted to. She did a short 18-minute breakdown of it. I haven't had a chance to watch it yet. Um, Kate said it too, Annie. Damn, have you ever been able to find it? Because I have looked and looked and looked. I am sure that it's been scrubbed. But even on the Hawaii Real Estate Channel, that video of him interviewing that 19-year-old from the Navy who I used for my thumbnail a couple of days ago, I think that video got scrubbed too, but I was able to find it still. And so I put it on my community post, but I don't know if it's still there. I haven't looked. But I think that it got like quasi scrubbed or semi scrubbed. I mean, really, it's possibly impossible to completely scrub something off the internet. Of course, there's geniuses that can do it and that's their business. But Shan would know, and maybe some of you know if how easy it is to scrub something off the internet. I know it's not easy. I know it's really hard and that you might not really be able to get it 100%. You can just get like maybe 99.9%. But I have never been able to find that thing of Kate Cunio, and I have tried. So then I questioned myself, well, maybe I'm imagining it, but I know I'm not. I know that I'm not because those were the only two people that said it. They only each said it once and I'm sure they wish they never said it. And Sammy couldn't scrub hers because it would have been too obvious, or I don't know. I mean, I'm sure she could have had it done. Um, is a pic of Kiely Rodni, not Kiely Rodni, the quick stop market one where per Steve Kiely went elsewhere for gas. Yes, exactly. Exactly. There's been like the two camps, the people that think that it's Kylie and the people that think that it's not. Um, and I really thought that those people were drinking the Kool-Aid. I was just like, it's Kylie. Like, that's fine. I can agree to disagree. But then I started to, like I said, get won over. I think that they're right. I think it's not Kylie. I think that we'd been had, baby. It happens. It happens to the best of us. Just like the picture from Moscow with, everyone's trying to say that that's the freaking bar owner, not the police chief that's talking to the two frat boys. Because it don't make no sense for the police chief to be there at 1:30 in the morning in street clothes talking to the two frat boys unless he's doing like a drug task force kind of thing and he's doing the plain clothes. But he looks like he's socializing with Adam and Hoodie Guy. So when people try to say that that's the bar owner, that would make more sense. The bar owner would have more of a potential business and reason to be speaking to the frat boys, especially because Adam works there. He's like sitting by the door. He's the bouncer. He's one of the bartenders. Um, and then, people have tried to say that that's not Jack D talking to Madison and Kaylee. And I didn't think it was Jack D at first when people were questioning that. I was just like, that's ridiculous. He was home asleep. Didn't you hear his alibi? He was too tired to go out. But no, Kaylee's whole family has said again and again they know that that's Jack D and they've spoken with him about it. But that hasn't really been, again, vetted by mainstream news sources. Law enforcement, have they cross-referenced the two alibis of Jack D not going out and going out? Like, right there, you got something. When somebody's lying about their alibi, you got something. Period. Even if it's just a booty call that they're trying to cover up, which is something I've heard people try to say about Jack D. Like, come on, give me a freaking break. Yeah, he was there talking to his hot ex-girlfriend that texted him and called him 10 times, that was dumping him and moving out of state and taking his dog. And yeah, he was busy with, he had to go get busy with somebody else, so he couldn't walk her to the grub truck. Yeah. The stories don't add up, you guys. And when things don't add up, there's usually a reason. Um, let's see. I was here for your very first lives. I was Tatty Catty. Oh my goodness. Thank you so much. That's incredible. That is so cool. That blew my mind yesterday when you said that. Oh, about the cats. It blew my mind when I thought of it. And I don't think I haven't heard Brush Chunky talk about it yet, but she'll probably go down that same route, even if she isn't hearing anything about my stuff. It seems like she and I are very much on the same wavelength. Um, I think super highly of her. I think super highly of Eric West. I think super highly of Blossom Inner Wellness. And I'll just stop there. I used to really stick to my scruples and rules of I only spoke about channels that I really liked and had a lot of positive things to say. If I had anything negative to say about any channel, I just wouldn't go there because trying to play nice is bad juju. There's so many positive things in the world to focus on. Sometimes, though, I think it's imperative to call a spade a spade. But I try to just stay focused on the positive. Let me choke on my water. Anybody know the Heimlich? I've never choked on my water in an entire over a year, so about a year of doing lives. Um, and I never kicked over my computer, my video thing either. And I didn't kick it over yesterday. The dumb thing was because I had it sideways, so it was a brand new contraption. Let's just say I put it together with like spit and duct tape. although although it was an actual like cell phone thing. Like it's called like a cup holder kind of cell phone stand, but it had a suction cup and so it was stable, but then gravity just kept sucking it down. That was hilarious. And then for all of you that saw the live or saw the replay, I'm just amazed that I was able to like get the dumb thing and put it back up and get on with the video. It took a minute, and then the second time it happened, it's never happened, and then it happens twice. And the second time, I thought I really was on it. Like it only took me a second. Anyway, I digress. I'm not choking on my water anymore. So, yeah, the thing with the pets. So what blows my mind, I want to stay focused on that for a minute. What blows my mind is that guy, and you guys know when I say that guy, I'm imitating Stein Norway. I'm going to put Stein Norway in my a link for some of his videos in my description too, because he is so freaking awesome. He's so funny. He's like, this guy, who did this? This guy or this guy? That's the Moscow case. Anyway, I'll put the links in there. That guy, the doctor, in his really long lab coat, and I kept making jokes yesterday how without a stethoscope on, I wasn't sure if he was a doctor or not. Last night, I was going to sleep and I was thinking, man, he needed to have a headlamp, one of those doctor headlamps, and the stethoscope draped over his shoulders or maybe, around his neck like he's using it. So if he had the stethoscope and the headlamp, then you would know even more that he's an actual real life doctor. Like, that lab coat was a joke, you guys. Like, that was such a prop. And then the other dude, the defense expert or whatever he was from Honolulu, that wasn't the FBI guy that I was crossing my wires. There was no FBI guy there, I don't think. But he was just wearing a t-shirt, like he was, I think, supposed to be like you know, the one that made you feel comfortable, just like the tiny little uh female person. They were there to be like casual, to like, just really connect with folks. Because then you have Chief Peltier or whatever the heck, who really should be fired, in my humble opinion. Um, and he's trying to play nice, but man, he's got like this serious bad assery going on. Like, he looks and acts so much like a mobster. The looks on his face, the expressions. And remember, he's from Vegas. He's from Vegas. So, there was scandal with Hawaii government employees running up $20,000 credit card bills in Vegas on the company card, and then having that swept under the rug and taken care of so that there wasn't public knowledge of it. And I just kind of wonder, like, well, is that how they knew him? Is that how he knew them? Like, I'm sure if I've heard of one of those people that had the Hawaii government credit card that inappropriately spent $20,000 at a strip bar or gambling or whatever, I'm sure there's more. Anyway, um, so I'm sorry, I'm going all different directions. So the guy with the lab coat saying the thing about the 16 non-humans, I really think he was trying to appeal to people like, look how hard our job is, or probably more likely, he was just trying to make an excuse for, this was another way we were able to bring our numbers of people down, because we have 16 we could take right off the list because they weren't people. And maybe that was 32 because each one of those 16 was in two body bags. So whatever it was, he was trying to like bail out the problems, which that whole press conference was a problem. And they immediately ended it right after he said that thing. So I'm wondering, did they end it because they were like, oh, this isn't good, because their brains were going the same place that my brain went? That if you only have 16 animals when thousands died, then maybe when you say you have less than 100 people, maybe you have thousands of people that died too. And that is my suspicion. I have kept an open mind that maybe it is just in the lower hundreds or somewhere around there. But no, I think that they had thousands of people die in that fire. I'm gonna guess roughly 2 to 3,000. From I get those figures from professionals who were there. That's where I get those figures. So, I'll try to put a link in the description to that too. Um, let's see, where am I here? That to blow my mind. Annie Ruler, Mark Molina, or Mr. Mark and Kiely Rodni should work to find me. I like calling you Mr. Mark, and you know why, Mr. Mark? Because it's so much like Mr. Monk, and that's a funny show. It's a good one. Um, so Annie Ruler says, cool, subbed you. I like smaller channels and watching them grow as much as creators want. I love the smaller channels. There are a couple of very large channels that I'm very into also, but I love the smaller, funkier channels. I just think it's the coolest. And the thing I love about YouTube is how it's like an even playing field. Like, you might only have 12 subs, but you're public, so anybody can see your videos. You can have a big impression without realizing it. Um, I don't know what made my third video go quasi viral with almost 20,000 views. I have no idea if that was like YouTube doing me a favor, or if that was because people were like, wow, check out this new content creator, or maybe it got put into a Facebook group or something like that. But it's wild. And then I see some of these brand new channels that I'm very suspicious of who have like 20,000 subscribers in week 1 or 2. And it's just like, yeah, you don't know how to do a fake YouTube channel very well, do you? Like, it's just not going to happen unless you have 20,000 friends or something. I don't know. Anyway, um, yes, everybody sub to Mark Molina's channel. Check him out, and please take a half an hour and watch that video from 5 or 6 months ago of, SS and Lindsay Rodney at that one conference. Ugh. Watch that in slow motion. Just like I keep saying, going over to the Idaho case, please watch the Bubbly Waters video, of Ethan Chapin's mother and family giving their press conference in front of the police station that she plays in slow motion in that same fashion that Mark Molina does. And you just learn so much when you review things and when you slow them down and when you speed them up. So, I told you guys I watched that um, press conference from Hawaii, the last one, the 38-minute one. I was watching it on speed and a half because they were talking so effing slow. Like they were dragging out every word, like that was like their game plan. And I do think the whole setup was extremely deliberate. I mean, they always are, but I think that they had a game plan of trying to make it as long as possible so that it would seem like they were being transparent. And I think that they got super flustered when people asked about the children because they knew that they would, and they tried to manage that. But as soon as that question was posed, that's when they got all flustered. And watching it sped up in double speed was, you could see even more. Of course, some of that's an illusion from the double speed, but you can really see how flustered they were. So flustered, and just all the moving around, all the backing away from the podium, and that is, it's just bizarre. And this is exactly what detectives do when they have their videotapes of body cam footage or interviews, surveillance cameras. They watch them at double speed, they watch them at half speed to do those exact same things because you see it differently every time you watch it, and especially if you're switching things up like that. And then maybe watching it without sound so that you see more of the body language, or maybe just listening to it without the visual, just so you can really hear the enunciations, the pauses, the syntax. Like every little thing is so important. A channel that I really like is Martin Decoder. He's a linguistics analyst. I don't agree with him all the time, but I really like how he does his channel, and I like how he educates the viewers about his profession because it is freaking fascinating. Check him out, Martin Decoder. I'll put one of the links in here too. Tell me if I put too many links in my descriptions. I've been putting like 10 in lately sometimes, and I don't know. It's all just a science experiment. I'm just shooting from the hip. Um, And yes, just the name of the campsite and the Lord of the Flies is enough to make sacrifice look real to me. Who was sacrificed this year? And man, in Shan's live last night, they were talking about, um, I think it was Divine Justice, aka Mrs. G, was talking about how it could have been a rivalry between Sammy and Kylie, that one of them was going to bite the bullet and the other one was going to get moved up in the ranks. And going back to that concept of the families being in control of the trafficking of the illegal substances, because that's big money, you guys. And it happens in every city across our country. It's one of the only things that you can put into your investment portfolio where you can literally double, triple, and quadruple your money overnight. So I'm not recommending it because it is illegal and you can go to jail. But if you have the right connections, you can just do it all you want and just make piles of cash and just roll around in your money and not worry about the blood on the money, right? I mean, drug money is bad juju, big time bad juju. But that's when people are extremely wealthy, they got to keep the money going because they have so much overhead and expenses. So they diversify their portfolios. And wherever the big money is going to be made, they're going to diversify into that, in my humble conspiracy theory opinion, allegedly. Rich Lux. I didn't say his name yesterday when I said it, but it's just the funniest thing. Anyway, let's get more serious. Let's maybe go into the Idaho case because I keep going back and forth from Kiely and Maui. Tell me if it drives you guys nuts. I've said it a lot the last few days. The only time it really drives me nuts is when I'm reviewing the tape and I didn't finish a thought. That is the worst. It really bugs me. So I'm going to read some of your comments and then try to get into Idaho because there's so much cooking over there in Idaho. Um, Casey the cat, sick about buzzes. Ha, drivers followed government instruction. I'm age 63 and never thought our Constitution was a big deal. Now, sad watching it trampled on for greed. Did we ever find out where the school buses went? I can't believe what I'm watching when it comes to Maui. It's just so shocking. Um, great questions and comments. Let me get there. One sec. Try not to choke on my water this time. And look, I'm drinking out of a glass because I got sick of drinking out of my giant bottles. And I said one of my bottles the other day was $50. I was exaggerating, but they are super expensive, aren't they? I don't know that they ever run 50, like 25 or something. Stupid. I don't buy them. People in my family buy them and then they are cool and I use them. But yeah, that's crazy. Spend that kind of money on a freaking water bottle that's just going to get lost or dented. Anyway, we're staying focused on the buses. So I saw that somebody had a video out about finding the school buses, but I don't know which channel that was. I did not watch the video. What I'm not even that concerned. Like, okay, eventually those buses are going to be found wherever they are, on island or off island. But what is striking to me about the buses is why were they moved and why was it like um, a covert operation? Why were the buses moved? So, for those of you that don't know, the school bus parking lot had roughly 16 buses in it. And I think it's like Google Earth photographs or drone footage that there's still shots that show that before the day before the fire. But then after the fire, there's like 12 of them not there and 4 of them are there. And none of them got burned in that lot, it doesn't look like. So, like, what happened to them? I hadn't even thought about it, but possibly they did evaporate. Maybe. I mean, that's a crazy conspiracy theory, but if there's these weird microwave um, direct energy weaponry, if they can do what they did to all those other automobiles, maybe some of them do just completely dissipate. I wouldn't think so. Like that seems like a huge stretch to me. But where are they? Who removed them and why? And why isn't it just publicly explained? Like, oh, well, we moved those buses because we knew the fire was coming and we didn't want to get them burned. I mean, obviously they're not going to say that. Although no, you could say that. You could say that if you already know there's a fire, you can go ahead and move the buses and say we moved them so they wouldn't get burned because we saw the fire was coming. But then that question comes into play. Well, why didn't you get the freaking people out of there? And maybe that's exactly what it was. I don't know. I mean, I can speculate all I want. I'm not over there. There's a lot that I don't know. I'm not going to pretend that I know. But it's just really good questions about the buses. The whole thing like that Brush Junkie was talking about that was similar to what I was talking about that press conference, and I know I said I'd go to Idaho and I will. Um, is that, the police chief started that press conference with like first thing that came out of his mouth was 9/11. Second thing that came out of his mouth was prisoners of war. Why? Why would your mind even be anywhere near 9/11, anywhere near prisoners of war when you're dealing with that situation over there in Maui? That makes no sense, but there's a reason for it. There's obviously always a reason for something like that. So it's pretty freaking crazy. So let's get into Idaho because I keep saying that I'm doing it and then I'm not doing it. Um, all of the red faces every time they started lying were undeniable. See, I didn't even notice the colors of their faces. I'll go back to that. But maybe you're talking about other press conferences. All of these cases, like I know Sam Brown's face in the Truckee Kiely Rodni case. He was always turning bright red. I've seen James Fry do it in the Idaho case, and I've seen Roger Lanier do it in the Idaho case. And why have we never heard the lead detective speak about anything? I pose the question to you, my friends. Um, Here, let's highlight that one because that's a very good comment, Dana. I'm going to try to speed read through these and then say some things about Idaho that I have written down here. Um, do you mean that the drivers were following instructions? What did I miss? See, Knickers, I'm so sorry I'm late. I finally got your address. I'm so excited. You're so sweet to be so kind about it. I'll rewatch the beginning later. Hi, Jazz. Hi, Chat. So, for you guys who don't know, Pixie Knickers won the prize that I did a giveaway a couple weeks ago, and I've just been, scrambling to try to get it together to hack into my email, so that I can send it to her. So I have that, and I'll get it into the mail today. And then I'm going to do another giveaway. I'm excited to do another giveaway. Let me talk about my earrings super quick because I love them. I made the necklace a long time ago, but the earrings I just made, and I'm all like geometric. Um, and we're staying focused. Let's see. I agree with substances being very profitable, but the people are even more profitable. Thank you for saying that, Dana, because that is 1000% absolutely the truth. Um, and be right back. I'm back. Police chief righted a lot of errors. I don't know. Oh, dang, Annie, quit it with your sharpness. You guys, you know what she's saying? The police chief eradicated out of existence a lot of the people who would inherit the Lahaina properties. That was my knee jerk reaction when, like on day one, not so much him, but everybody. But yeah, he was a uh, major player. But he's working for people. Like it's not like he's doing it just out on his own. He's a puppet, basically, right? He's a puppet. Not saying he's relieved of responsibility. Not saying that he's forgiven. If he's guilty of what I think he's guilty of, he's like the sickest of the sickest, in my humble opinion. Um, Kind of reminds me of The Vanishing. Annie Ruler says, hello, I saw a video of a few buses moving on the day. Oh, did you, Casey? I have not seen that video on the day of the fire. So yeah, that would make sense to say, oh, well, let's get the buses out of here so that they don't burn up. But why wouldn't you like prioritize getting the people out of there? That's what's so disgusting. Um, and yeah, the real numbers we'll probably never know. Absolutely. So many people, I believe, were burned alive. Some of them were probably burned and injured and then got into the water and drowned, or maybe they died of their smoke inhalation. Actually, more people die of the smoke inhalation rather than the actual like burning of their flesh. So they usually die of the smoke inhalation and then they get burned alive. That's how it goes. I have a firefighter family. So oh, you're so nice, Pixie Knickers. You're awesome. Casey the cat. I mean, allegedly school was canceled, and they go back and forth with that, just like they go back and forth with all this stuff with the Kiely Rodni and with the Idaho 4. It wasn't. Um, so school was supposed to start the next day, but you guys, more than anything, we got to remember that the applications for the water rights were due on August 7th, the deadline that had been set the year prior for the native islanders who won the water rights, first choice, like the higher superior water rights. And then you've got the whole thing with the $328 million settlement that the state of Hawaii was going to be paying to native islanders, first distribution of payments due in September from last year also. So both of those things were happening when this fire happened on the 8th. So as I said, I'm going into the Idaho 4 case now. Yeah. And for all of these cases, you guys, for all three of these cases, any one of us as citizens of the United States of America can file a complaint against a public official for dereliction of duty, for criminal negligence. Formal grievances and formal complaints are really a good thing. And, you know, not thinking that, well, I'm sure other people have done it, because there's a good chance that nobody's done it because everybody's busy in their own life. Any of these cases, any of us can do it by email or over the phone. You usually would just like look up that city government, like let's say Idaho, um, and then on your website, you're going to get all the information you need. You just send an email and say, I'd like to file a formal grievance or complaint about the Moscow Police Department not uh, having a lead investigator on the scene for 4 hours when there was a quadruple homicide. I'd like to file a formal grievance about the police chief being so lenient with the survivors, the witnesses that he claims weren't witnesses, and allowing them the permission to not get in any trouble for hindering the investigation when they didn't call the police for 8 hours. You can do that. You and I can file grievances and complaints. Let's say they got 20,000 complaints against Chief Fry for that kind of crap. They'd probably do something about it. Let's say the police chief in Maui got 200,000 complaints and grievances emailed to his supervisors. They might do something about it. In Hawaii, I've mentioned the last couple of lives that Blossom Inner Wellness and Hawaii Real Estate are both being very instructional about giving people the exact information that they would need to pursue anything like that. Um, and let's see, the district attorneys like could file complaints against them. Again, jumping over to the Watts case for a moment, that DA, those are the people that are driving the cases, you guys, the district attorneys. Seriously. Um, so criminal negligence, dereliction of duty, um, obstruction of justice, interfering with an investigation. And these people are all supposed to be held to higher standards than the rest of us. Law enforcement is supposed to be held to the highest standards. And I like to use the phrase, there's in a lot of positions, there's very little margin for error. In some positions, there's zero margin for errors. And law enforcement is one of those, in my opinion. So, off my high horse. Yeah. Um, what do we want to say about the Idaho 4 case, you guys? I was in the chat of What's the Obsessions live last night. She and I have very different opinions about the case. Um, I love Kelly. I respect Kelly. She's extremely smart and she's helped me a lot with having me be a guest on her channel way before I ever started my own channel. Um, and we have different views and opinions, just like Shan and I have different views and opinions, and Ara and I have different views and opinions. We all love each other very much like Teletubbies, but we all have our own views and opinions. So I just want to say about Kelly has a couple of people from Moscow that are like fraternity brothers of Ethan's that she's had um, interactions with, that she uses as a trusted source of information. And I just want to say that I wouldn't necessarily trust those sources of information because they very well may be put up to it by the fraternity, by the university, by the police department, sent out into the streets of YouTube, as we say, to spin it. So I think that the story about uh, Bethany looking out the window and seeing a guy clad in black, or was that the naked man? I don't know. Um, but that coinciding with, or contradicting with, or just being in addition to Dylan's stories that I think are just completely bogus. And it might not be that she was lying, it might be that the person writing the affidavit was lying and had something on her and said, this is the story that you're going to go with, or we'll have to arrest you for whatever we would have to arrest you for. So when the police have something on you, like say they bust you for distribution, that's how you become a confidential informant. Some people might not know that. So if the police were going to arrest me for suspected distribution, and gave me the option of being a confidential informant for them, which is a very dangerous thing to do. You put your own life at risk, but it's something that happens, I think, quite frequently. So, because they always want to try to get to the next person up if they can. And the people involved in these lines of business know that. And that's the game. It's a game of cat and mouse. So that's how and why people become confidential informants. It's because they're trying to avoid prison for the crimes that they committed and or alleged to have committed. And I would imagine, in my conspiracy theory mind, I would imagine that there's times when somebody in a position of authority like that could tell you, even if you weren't distributing. Well, I could say that you were. So if you are a confidential informant for me, I won't do that. So those things happen, you guys. That's not just fantasy. Unfortunately, there are crooked people in positions of power like that. Um, let's see. That feels good. Hope not full of elites. I sound a little sus. The buses full of elites. Ugh. I'm just wondering why this guy was talking about prisoners of war. That just really creeped me out. POWs, like we have burn victims to talk about. We have body bag consolidations into one. Um, what was that crazy term that they used? Oh, I have it in my notes from yesterday, but where is that notebook? I think that's right here. One distinct human. All I had to do was touch the notebook and then it came to my brain. that was such a buzzword of that conference, a distinct human. So that whole conference, I said it before, but I'm going to say it again because I think it's the most important takeaway. That whole conference was designed to be long so that they wouldn't just like send out a memo that said, "Oh, we brought the numbers down from 3,000. Now we're under 100 for the fatalities." So, seriously. And yeah, it's quite possible that initially when they had over 3,000 people missing, that many of them were found safe. I would hope so, but I can't trust any of it because they're so full of it, you know. The police chief flat straight up denied blocking those roads for people to leave to escape the fire. He only admitted it a few days later because he had to. So again, I wanna go back over to Moscow, and then I find myself in Maui. See, like, I'm on vacation. I'd much rather be in Hawaii vacation than Moscow vacation. I've heard that Idaho is one of the most beautiful states in our country, and that, a lot of people don't know that because it doesn't have a high population, and they do have a few, I think, touristy areas. Is Sandpoint one of them? I think that is, and I think Sandpoint is where Mark Furman lives. But again, I will just thank the good Lord that Mark Furman hasn't muddied up this Idaho case because this Idaho case is a freaking shite show. And, just going to Crime Circus's last video where Drip Drop is talking about the ladder leaning up against the house. And I'm just like, we've all known the ladder was there the whole time. I'm one of these people that really discounted the ladder as having any meaning. Again, I was hoodwinked. I was bamboozled. I was gaslit, I think. I think that that's crazy. Like, if you have four deceased people and you have something like a ladder leaning up against a house, it doesn't matter if the landlord left it there from when they were, fixing the roof 3 months ago. You need to treat it as evidence, 100%. So, there's so many things like that, and we can thank these Moscow police officers for their body cams of themselves making crap up and being unethical and saying that they're lying and saying that there was a noise complaint when there wasn't, or, trespassing and then saying that they had reason to trespass when they didn't. So if they didn't have a call and they didn't knock on the door, they had absolutely zero business. They had zero grounds for trespassing on private property. And I think the kids in that house knew that, but they are kids and this is law enforcement. And obviously, they've had a lot of back and forth with law enforcement, with their party house and with all the noise complaints. So I just come back to the thing again and again about the fact that the Moscow police chief or the captain or somebody representing the police department didn't just come straight out and say, this is really hard on our officers. Many of them had been to this house recently and interacted with these young women recently. And this is just devastating now to have them all slaughtered. Like, that's a regular, normal thing. How come nothing like that has ever been said when these police officers knew these girls? They knew this house. Rosenthal, whatever Rosie's last name is, Mr. Rosendale, wanted to go to that house to see those girls. He said that to his partner. Let's go over there. Let's go talk to them. And his partner said, "Well, maybe you could do that on your next shift," right? At some point he said that, like, like, I don't need to be here. And that guy, is it Blaker? Sergeant Blaker that was with Brett Payne when it took them an entire 4 hours to show up, and Sergeant Blaker that was with Rosendale when they trespassed, the guy who said, "Huh, no access to the balcony." And again, it was a month before or 2 months before somebody may have gained access into that house illegitimately and offed 4 people. And he's on tape 4 weeks or 8 weeks before saying, "Huh, no access to the balcony." That's huge. That warrants an investigation right there, in my humble opinion. But Blaker was also Sergeant Blaker was the person who was assigned the case the year before, October of 2021, when Kaylee G thought that she saw the missing woman, the like older middle-aged woman at Walmart, and she called law enforcement to say, "I think I saw this missing person." And it turned out that it wasn't that woman that she saw, but it was Blaker who handled that case. So he may have remembered her. Again, this is a small town. This is not like New York City. So, um, does anyone have the video of the chemical trails allegedly the week before? So you're talking about Maui. And also, I think it's really important to talk about the TNT in the water. How'd they get there? We all must do our bit. If we all write one or a few emails a day, we really must do stuff for ourselves. Oh, I love that you said that. And I'm taking that both ways. Like that we really must do stuff ourselves and we really must do stuff for ourselves. Like we got to take care of ourselves. We can't like hyper focus on these cases and neglect our own needs. So I don't know which way you meant that, but I think it's both ways. And I missed one of Annie's things. Let me see if I can pull it down real quick. An episode of the first 48 had a detective. This is my first lead role on an Red Rum, several years of theft, etc. How in the heck does a 2-year guy to the force get the lead? Right. And let's go ahead and give him all the accolades that he served in the military. So he's used to red rums. But yeah, good question. Again, he might just be a puppet. I mean, sometimes I've wondered if he's the puppet master, other times I've wondered if he's a puppet, maybe both. But like he seems to be pulling a lot of the strings and doing a lot to control the narrative, like writing the affidavits. Um, one sec. And oh my goodness, we're in an hour and 22 minutes. I have to wrap up, you guys. Holy smokes. Okay. Let's just read your last few and then say goodbye, and then we'll get on here tomorrow. Same time, same place. Um, I don't understand why Kylie doesn't think she could be fooled by people trying to cover the Kelly. Oh, you're talking about Watts. And again, I love you, Kelly. Don't I would thought that you were saying Kylie or Kaylee. I don't understand why Kelly doesn't think she could be fooled by people trying to cover this up. She is so confident. I don't see things her way either. Plus, they get paid a lot of money, and in all of these cases, it's all about the greed. Moscow versus Maui, and it's interesting that it's the police departments, the MPD Moscow PD or MPD Maui PD. It's a cluster, 100%. I agree. Sadly, I feel Furman is the most qualified person to be part of the investigation. I wouldn't necessarily disagree with that, although I'm not a Furman fan, but like I said, I am for what he did for Martha Moxley's case. But I'm glad he hasn't been part of the case. Right. I just think it would really muddy the water because there'd be so much baggage. He has a lot of baggage. No access to the balcony. You're coming in here with all the great comments. I don't know that I've seen your name before. Hello, hello. So I am going to sign off, you guys. I'm going to read these last couple of big ones. Annie says, Dana, I agree. Kelly is connected tightly to law enforcement. I had teens and now seen the process. Frat sororities committed to silence. So glad Kelly found the two honest ones willing to break code. Dang, Miss Ruler. Um, I know this is off topic, but I'm so happy that things are being questioned in the Delphi case. Well, it's fine. I've never spoken to the Delphi case, but that doesn't mean that I don't care at all. It's just that that's a whole nother cluster, right? After seeing Richard Allen when he was in a wheelchair, I knew that something was wrong with that. Well, see, I've really been concerned about the criminal defendant in Idaho, suiciding. I'll just leave it there. I have to sign off, you guys. I love you. Peace out. Sending you light, sending you love. Have a really good afternoon. And I hope you can get all the nutrition and exercise, sunshine and fresh air and staying hydrated. And thank you so much. See you soon. Have a wonderful day.